Hey guys, today we're back with a little bit of a depressing topic again. This time there's some Overwatch footage in the background to mix things up a bit. And before you ask, no, this does not really pertain to Overwatch or that type of stuff. But this conversation did get me inspired from Overwatch. I was talking to my friend about Overwatch, and this is kind of the aftermath and my thoughts about it. So, enough about what's happening here. Let's talk about the video. And today we're going to be talking about how TF2 will inevitably die. Yes, TF2 will inevitably die. Not saying it's going to happen soon. Not saying it's happening later. Sorry, I can't talk. But the thing here is we're not going to discuss when it will happen. We're going to discuss why and how we can, delay that inevitability. So, the first thing that really comes to mind is the release of new games, yeah? Everyone's like, hey, Overwatch! Well, I don't think you should really be worried about that. If anything, that would make TF2 better. But at the same time, that does technically kill TF2. Like, I'm sure you've all heard the statistic that 40% of the player base has gone to Overwatch. But, in my experience, every time I've left TF2, or a friend has left TF2 for that matter, they will eventually come back. Give it time. TF2 is a game that will get boring for you, but it's a fun game. So every now and again, you just need to take a break. You just need to say, hey, I've had enough TF2, I'm going to go play some GTA, or in this case, Overwatch. So I don't think it's that. What I do think is the community. Now, hear me out on this one. This is a bit of a stretch, but maybe it's true. I don't know. I'm not a god. I don't see reasons for things. I just have predictions, and why I assume things will happen. Like, the first thing that I assume... Actually, wait, no. Before we can really talk about my predictions, we should talk about, like, a general understanding of the TF2 community. Now, let's talk about the three factions that's already established. The first faction is the trading scene. You've probably heard of them. They're the ones with all the rich stuff, and they use TF2 as monetary gain. I got no problem with it. I am sure Valve probably doesn't have a problem with it. Almost said profit. But Valve does profit from this sometimes. So, honestly, Valve just probably likes these guys, because they're definitely the ones reeling in the cash for them. The second is the competitive players. I'm sure you've heard of them, like Banny and all that stuff with the recent competitive mode coming out and all that hype. And then there's the pub players. These are your common Joe. Maybe they have a server, maybe they just like to play Valve servers. I personally like these guys the best. And the reason is because the trading people are very... hard to get into. Well, maybe not hard to get into, but it's just a bad place to be. Like, you will lose money. I guarantee it. Maybe you can make money, like myself. In that case, you'll have a good time, but you will inevitably lose money, whether it's from scamming, whether it's just from stupidity. Trading is bound to lose items. That's my word of the wise. Now, competitive, these people seem to be, how you say, their head stuck up their own ass, Like, I don't know why, but it seems like Sixes players are the most snobby. And if you're a Sixes player, I don't hate you. I'm just saying the stereotype for Sixes players is that you're a scout main with lime green paint and you're very snobby and don't like people. And for the most part, I seem like that's quite often. But again, I don't play Sixes. I don't deal with a whole lot of Sixes players other than the ones that are really loud and obnoxious. So Sixes, like, the whole competitive scene is very stressful and angry most of the time, and that's how competitive is. That's the definition of competitive. It's all strong and hard and very gritty, and I'm not a fan. I'm very passive. I don't... If someone's trying to fight me, I'll let them, just kind of, hey man, chillax, let's kind of just all be friends here, I'm not really one to get into a fight. Now the third group, almost said second again. The third group that we're talking about is the pubs. Pub players are just, I think, the nicest. Sometimes you get some really dumb ones, but those is because they're new to the game. And for that matter, like I mentioned in my free-to-play video, we shouldn't be isolating the new players. I'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, pub players, these guys I think are the best, they're always the friendliest, and this is what I feel like the TF2 community should be tampering to, not the competitive scene. But then again, I don't like competitive that much, I just do it because it's something. So now that you got the basic 3 sections of the TF2 community out of the way, let's talk about why there's a problem going on right now. And that's because Valve seems to be tampering to the competitive scene, which I get it, they have Counter-Strike and everyone likes competitive mode in that, but is competitive really the mode for TF2? Like, I don't know, it seems like TF2 was meant to be a casual game, and I'm fairly certain that's what they were going for back when before they even gunmetal. Probably like, maybe, the time I started joining, my bad, around 2013, it seemed like it was very casual, and that's what the game was going for, which I thought was great. I don't see the need to go into competitive. UGC always existed for the people that happen to want to do competitive. I didn't see any problem with that. But hey, that's just me. So how is tampering to competitive a problem? Well, for starters, you're changing all these items that people happen to really like. Like, for one example, is the Hatsatochi. It used to be one of the funnest weapons to use. Just pretty silly and straightforward concept, yeah? Take out the sword, you can't put it away, but you get health. But since they've added some stuff, since they've reworked some weapons to make them quote-unquote more balanced, it's just changed, and I don't think it's as fun. But then again, I'm not a demo man. You gotta understand, the whole time I'm just gonna keep saying then again, and that's just me reinstating that this is all opinion, because I don't think I said that in the beginning of the video, so please don't hate me. This is gonna be, we're getting to the point, I know. Sorry, a lot of backstory. It's okay, so whatever. They're tampering to the one section of the community, which is like 1/3 of the group, assuming that they're all divided equally. Okay, whatever. There's no problem there, right? Yeah? Everyone just kind of tampering to something? You gotta do that eventually. I'm sure pub players will get a chance. Well, this is where the problem comes in. Like I said, TF2 will eventually die. And that's probably due to the fact that people want too much. You know? Like, they're always like, oh man, it'd be really cool if the sniper had an assault rifle. It's like, no. That's if you want to play a game with an assault rifle for that you can use with a sniper rifle, go play Halo or Call of Duty, something that can use those. TF2 seems like it was based around something. I don't think you should be adding all this non-class adding stuff. A really good example of this is with the cosmetics. It seems like people just want certain cosmetics, but don't like the class they're for, so then they get upset and they're like, Valve, can we have this? So Valve's like, yeah, sure, I like you. You give us money, so here you go. And it's like, I don't know if that's the road you should do, Valve, because it's kind of just merging all the classes into one, and that I don't think will help TF2 survive. But then again, that's kind of, alright, whatever. If the game eventually turns into a bland first-person shooter, it's going to lose a huge majority of its player base, but it'll still live on, yeah? TF2's got a lot, it can lose a ton and still be fine. Alright, back to the topic that I originally mentioned when I said, hey, we'll talk about that in a minute, and that's the whole isolation of the two, the problem, really, that's happening. And this has no correlation to updates or anything. It, well, has a slight correlation to updates, but it doesn't have a correlation to competitive or anything. It's more, like I mentioned last time, the whole free-to-play thing with new players joining and everyone making fun of them. They're essentially the children of TF2, if you think about it. They're the next generation. And it seems like everyone's getting upset that the old generation is leaving. It's kind of like when your grandma dies. Everyone's kind of sad, and it's like, yeah, you should be. But at the same time, people are upset when there's new players. Like, just myself, I caught myself. I was playing TF2, and some guy just got the mercenary badge, and, like, I just thought to myself, I'm like, oh, God, we're gonna get destroyed because we have a newbie. It's like, no, you shouldn't think that. Like, I know it's mentally, like, you're gonna think that, but if you outwardly express your hatred towards these people, that just kills off the newcomers, while the oldcomers are getting bored of the game. Like I mentioned earlier, TF2's a game you need to take breaks from, so they're gonna leave, you're blocking out the new ones, and it just leaves a small quarter left. Portion, I guess that was the word I was looking for. You just leave a small portion left, and it gradually keeps getting smaller and smaller. And I'm not sure why that is. I don't know how I can fix it. I honestly don't have any solution. But the only thing that I can really say would be a solution is just being nice. That's what really the TF2 community, for me, is about. It's about being nice. I don't know why. Maybe it's just my luck. But every time I went on a server, there's always someone nice. There's the occasional scumbag, and maybe jerk. But that's a game. There's always going to be a bad apple. But for the most part, it seemed like everyone was relatively nice. I don't know. And one thing you can do to say that is just don't go around saying TF2's dead. Even if it might be true, maybe TF2 loses 60% of its player base overnight. Like, that's in realm of possibility with the recent statistics. But let's say that happens. You should not go around saying that and just be like, hey, guess what, TF2's dying to sell all your items, haha. No, just don't. It's kind of like going up to a kid and saying that they just shot your dog in the back of the head. You tell the kid, no, your dog's in a farm, it's gonna be happy. Let the kid live in denial. As the saying goes, ignorance is bliss. But hey, that's just my view on it. And I'm sure you're probably sick of this Overwatch footage in the background. I almost said background footage. Actually, I guess that would have worked. Would have guessed. So I know this is not an Overwatch video. I'm not even tagging Overwatch in it. The thumbnail won't be Overwatch, so sorry if you were not expecting Overwatch. But as of recently, it just seems like everyone's been jerk. So I kind of haven't wanted to play TF2 because every time I play a pub, I get upset. And it's annoying. So, Overwatch, it seems like I was just able to play a little bit. It's either this or GTA, and I figured Overwatch is at least slightly resembles TF2 more. If you guys do want an Overwatch video, because I am the heavy main who does stuff, if you do want an Overwatch video talking about how my opinion does the heavy, let me know. I personally don't really want to ride the hype train, so if you do want one, I will release it after all the hype has died down, because I don't think it's right to just ride hype trains for stuff that you didn't create. Alright, with all that out of the way, I'm gonna go head out, maybe eat some food or something, I don't know. TF2, man, this was a video. I hope you guys don't hate it. This was kind of just me talking about the big scheme of things and just being stupid. Alright, well, I'll see you all in the next one. Have a swell day. Peace out.